Hola, and welcome once again to the Schaefer Small Engine Shop and Two-Car Garage. This is today's project, and it has been eating my lunch. My friend Kenny brought me a Husky, careful there, 128 LD that had no compression. And I have fooled with it and told Kenny finally I could probably get a complete top end for this thing for about 50 bucks. And he said, do it. So I took the thing. As you can see, it's disassembled. The only thing I like about these things is they are easy to disassemble. They come out of the plastics, and you've got the whole motor right in front of you. Easy to work on. So I have taken it apart. Here is the old cylinder. Here is the old piston, and I'm going to try to get up close where you can look at this. And it has got all kinds of blow-by on it, and the ring is absolutely frozen in it, which is why it had zero compression. So I found this kit on the internet and have put on a new cylinder, a new piston rings, new piston pin, new piston pin circlips, and new crankcase seals, new crankcase bearings, both sides. And while it was all back still in the plastics assembled, I probably have spun this thing 2,000 times with my electric drill, and it has not popped, not a single time. So now I've taken it completely out. I've gotten my Mighty Vac, and I have sealed up the intake and sealed up the exhaust with plastic and nuts and bolts. And I'm convinced it has a leak in it. That's why it won't start. And it took me forever to get this thing sealed up. And I'll show you what I had to do to find a leak in it. I took a pail, a bucket, and it is full of water. I took this thing, sealed up with the Mighty Vac, and have you ever done this? I dumped the whole shittery in a bucket of water and started pumping, and bubbles just pouring out of it. And I figured out finally where the leak was, and it was, yeah, this is a bit messy. Hang on, let me move back over here. bring you in a little closer and I'll show you what I found. All this stuff that's on here, just some spacers, and I've got aluminum plates, pieces of inner tube that seal this thing up. But it was leaking out from where the insulator block joins onto the cylinder. Now, the first leak that I found there was because I didn't have the impulse hose cleaned up or clogged up, blocked up. So I had to move this thing around, move the rubber around, and clog up the impulse hole from the cylinder, from the crankcase. And I got it blocked off, and this thing then, it started holding pressure. 6-7 pounds, and it held pressure all night last night. So, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I had to take off all of this, and the leak was because this little gasket, which seals the insulator block to the cylinder, it is flat as a pancake, and it's not going to seal off anything. That's where the leak was. So I had to pull the insulator block, used red RTV high temp gasket maker, and very carefully filled in back on the back where this gasket was. Real careful. I used a nail, pushed through there, make sure my pulse hole stayed open, and then I've put it back together after the silicone's set up. That's what all these spacers are, so you can really get in there and do it tight. And now it'll hold pressure, and it holds vacuum. So if there's any problem with this thing not starting, it is not due to a leak in the crankcase. So what could be the problem? Well, while I've got it out and I'm looking at it, I take my adapter out, and hang on, let me take that out and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, I'm done with Mr. Mighty Vac. Of course, I still have to take all of my sealing blocks off of it. But I'm looking at this thing, and this thing has got good fire. It had the old carburetor, but I actually had a brand new carburetor. So it wouldn't start with the old carburetor. I put a new carburetor on it. When I say it wouldn't start, I mean it wouldn't even fire, not a pop. So wouldn't pop with starting fluid. So I am trying to figure out what the hell is the problem. And basically, if you've got fuel, which we do, if you've got fire, which we do, if you have compression, which we do, because we got a brand new cylinder, ring, piston, the whole works, and it's got good compression. There's only one other thing that could be wrong with it. Remember I said it's showing good fire, Well, that fire has got to come at the correct time. And here is what causes the fire. 2 magnets in the flywheel passing over the 2 legs of the coil. When the first magnet passes, it basically excites the coil. And when the second magnet passes the legs of the coil, it causes the coil to discharge, spark goes up, spark plug. Now, for the engine to fire, this has to happen. First magnet, as the piston is coming up and nearing the top of its stroke. And when I did this earlier, when the first magnet was passing the coil, the piston was at the bottom of its stroke. That is not correct. And when the second magnet that would cause the coil to discharge, the piston was halfway up. Not going to work. Well, I got to sneeze. The only person that's taken the flywheel off is me. When I put the new seals in it, new crankcase, the bearings, and the crankshaft has got a keyway cut in it. The flywheel has got a key cast into it. And I am sure when I did it correctly, but when I looked at it yesterday, it was not correct. So now I've taken the flywheel off again, put it back on, made sure the keyway on the crankshaft and the key in the flywheel are correctly mated. And as I turn it now, here is the second magnet is entering the coils and the piston is coming to top dead center, which is where it needs to be when it fires. So I got nobody to blame but me because I'm the only one that took the flywheel off. But I don't know if it slipped or what. But I'm at the point now that I'm ready to put this thing back together. One of the carburetors on it, get all these seals off of it, put it back in the plastic housing. I'm going to spin it with my electric drill and see if we can get ignition. I'm betting we can. So I'm going to cut you off, put this thing back together, and when I get her reassembled, I'll turn you back on. Okay, here we are the next day, and the subject is completely put back together. It's timed right. It's primed. It's on choke. And if I were a betting man, I'd bet this thing is going to start, because I don't see any reason now why it shouldn't start. Piston, rings, cylinder, copulator, fresh gas, I just don't know why it wouldn't fire up. It's fully primed. So, cross your fingers and place your bets. Here we go. That's not good. I'm gonna lock the throttle wide open. At least I think I am. Now we're wide open. Choke is off. And it didn't pop. I've got the muffler off, if that could possibly have anything to do with it, but I don't think so. We're spinning about 2,000 RPM. I've got a good spark plug. It's in time. I have no clue why this thing won't start. Got decent compression. I'm going to do one thing, which I think is a waste of money, but I'm going to put a coil in this thing. I'm going to order one. It'll be here in a day or two. They're cheap. $12, and I'm going to put a new coil in it, and I'll be back and we'll see if a new coil works, and if it doesn't perk up and act right, this is going in the parts bin. So I'll be back. Here we are again in what is supposed to be the final chapter in the book of Husqvarna 128 LD that will not fire. I have wasted about $12, and I have bought a brand new coil for this thing. It's a world famous brand, RCZTL, first class. Anyway, it's the same coil that I bought and put on Kenny's other 128. And of course it fired right up, but there was nothing wrong with it but the spark plug blew. So, and for $4, I bought a new coil. Well, this one cost about $12. But I'm going to put this coil on it. We're going to see if it'll fire up. I'm not a betting man, and earlier in this video I was willing to bet it was going to fire up once I got the flywheel timed up correctly. Well, it didn't hit a lick at a snake, and it has never hit a lick at a snake since it's been here. But it's pretty easy to come apart, just some case screws, and off comes that piece of plastic, and 4 screws here in the front, and out comes the engine. And you've got complete access to the coil right here, so I can put a new coil on it very easily, and I'm fixing to do that, and I'll turn you back on when the coil is mounted. I'm fixing to bolt the new coil up and set the gap. Well, I'll use this very sophisticated feeler gauge here as my gap tool. I'm going to bring you in real close here because this coil did not go on as close to the magnets as the old coil did. And I'm not so sure what that's all about. But I've got the lights off and I've got a spark tester set up here. And I'm going to give it a spin with the drill. We'll kind of see what we got. Move you back over here. Where we're looking is right there. Going slow, I get virtually nothing. Spinning it wide open, you get good spark, but at this juncture, I'm not convinced. Let me put the spark plug in it and we'll see if we get anything. All right, here goes the spin for the money. Well, I have stripped out my nut on this starter collar, which is round. Let me try my deep socket. Right here. See if it gets any better grip on it. Oop, that's an 8. That won't get me good. Where's my 10 deep? I don't know. Let's go back with what we had. It's around here somewhere. That is not going to work. Let me stop this. Let's see. Here's the damn socket. See if that bites any better. I'll be back. Well, I've had all of this Husky 128 LD that I can stand. I've even put the old carburetor back on it. So it's had on it a new cylinder, still there. New piston, still there. New piston rings, still there. New piston pin, still there. New circlips, still there. New crankcase seals, both sides. New crankcase bearings, both sides. We've had any number of spark plugs in it, any number of carburetors on it. It makes spark. It's got great compression. I can't pull it up here on the bench. I have to put it on the ground and pull it. But in its history here, it has never fired. Not a single pop. So this 128 LD from Husqvarna, Brazil, I'll bet. Maybe Husqvarna, China. But I'm done with it. And I'm going to call Kenny and see what Kenny wants done with it. I can keep it for parts, or he can pick it up, take it to the Husky shop, and see what they have to say about it, which will be buy a new unit. This is a Lowe's unit. Anyway, I can't imagine this helped anybody, but thanks for watching. If you like these videos, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'll be back with more. Thanks.